Hello, welcome to episode number 10 of my Deconstructing Distortions series. My name is Allie with a.Marie.Speaks, and this is a quick video, hopefully under 20 minutes or around 20 minutes, on a single term or phrase that's been part of my eternal student's journey, and one which I have even come up against some distortions and see a lot of sort of entangled definitions and really convoluted, explanations of this word. And I aim to sort of clear ground in these episodes and offer out my own sort of pulling back of the layers of distortion and seeing where, the negative alignments and the lies are coming from, and then try to kind of smooth it out and offer some more truth, like iron the wrinkles out a bit and say there is a lot of worth in this word still, but we have to look at it from the right angle, because it's one of those words as a weapon. It's double-edged, and it is being used quite negatively, harmfully, and abusively out there in the real world. But I don't think that that's the only use for it. And a lot of times with these kind of words here in Deconstructing Distortions, it's that kind of word, term, or phrase that I find is being heavily misused. And I'd like to sort of bring it into some truth and notice that the true usage of it in a positive perspective or alignment with intention that serves all is actually way more powerful and important and honest than the negativity that they're attempting to push and use it as and say that it's the only use for it. So welcome to episode number 10 on the word chosen, or to be chosen, chosen ones, all these kind of words that go along with that. It's been kind of a hype, viral word lately, which is another reason that I'm bringing it up and going to put it into this series. But it's also been something in my own world, in my own journey and path, that has not only been like a stumbling block for me, but has become a fundamental building block now that I've, cleaned it off and understood what it really is. So welcome. Here's my video sort of walkthrough on the behind the scenes on that work, offering out to anyone who's interested, hoping that it might help you clean yours off a little bit. Or maybe you said, oh, I've already done that as well, and I found that one, and yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So yeah, this again is sort of it's a secondary step up from my original Comprehending Consciousness series, which was geared for newly awakened people, where I was hoping to speak to kind of those types of people who might find that kind of content with this kind of tag phrase, and then to break off of the mainstream hype and bring it into the esoteric and down into the real truth of it. This series is slightly different because I'm not going to be sort of angling it or hoping to speak to people who are newly awakened, but more of speaking from the position that I'm already at, which is I've been awake for quite a few years. At different levels, of course, awakening over the years since 9/11, 2001, through having my own sort of spiritual awakening, which I thought, I would name claim to be about 2015 for myself. And then sort of the ultimate peeling back and just being who I am and waking up, which happened for me, between 2019 and 2022, where it was just all holds bar. What's that phrase? I just didn't care anymore. I just took off the whole shell and just said, this is me. This is it. I'm not doing any more dilution. I'm not doing any more in my shell a little bit. No, I'm all in, so it's been a gradual thing for me, and for some people it's gradual like that. For some people it's instantaneous. But like I said, this sort of series, I'm hoping to, I'm not going to give a lot of sort of preliminaries that I would offer to people who are newly waking up. Instead here, I'm going to just talk about sort of the accumulation and the breakdown of all the pile of crap. And that is sort of collected around as I've been moving on this journey. And so the phrase chosen ones is used in lots of different angles. It's been, of course, all the way, it's a biblical phrase. It's been with us through all of written history. When we come across these sort of Girl Scout badges, these symbols and reference points that have been used over time and space through every different kind of tradition, these are the real things that we should really be taking off and looking at and saying, yeah, you've been with me forever, but why? And not like, but why, like in a bad way, but just in that state of unbiased observership, the role of the observer, stepping into your higher self or into higher consciousness, into connectivity with God's source, whatever your kind of way to seeing the bigger picture is for you, however you feel comfortable in that delegation, get into that. And when we're in that, and we look at things like chosen ones, and we look at these different propagated displays that we see plasterized all over the matrix kind of out there in the world, it's like they are posed there in a very defensive, offensive kind of way. It's very black and white, friend, enemy, included, excluded kind of presentation about it. And for me, of course, that's always a red flag that we're entering into a negative system of restrictions, because, gates and channels and checkpoints don't exist, are not part of positively flowing alignments, because interaction is allowed from 360 degrees. All portions are relevant to the whole in something that wants to align positively, seeks truth and transparency. And so it allows communication from all directions and angles, because it will see benefit from whichever position is speaking or, giving an input. Versus over here in negative alignments, the hierarchical need to know, this angular, forced directionality of energy and exchange, sets the tone. It says, no, it can only come from this way or that way, or there's clear markings as to the way that notifications are allowed to take place. And so to see in the forefront that we already have all of these seemingly firmly positioned lies of, chosen folks, we should know that there's more than meets the eye here, that cannot be true, and similarly, if we are really seeking truth and looking for the truth, our one guiding North Star is always that we are one truth, that all is a holistic whole, and that there is a benevolent great creator at the spark and center of and external boundary of the entire thing. And so no matter where in the model you think you are or you think you're witnessing, each part is integral to the whole, because it was created in that way. And so that right there, that one truth, wipes clean. It's sort of, sunshine is the best disinfectant kind of thing. It's like, doesn't match, doesn't align, it doesn't work in the light. It's not true. It cannot be. We are all created equal, or we're not. I mean, there's no gray area available for that. And again, this is how we know things are true, because it can stand alone as an organic process. There's no sustainability question. There's no answer necessary, because there's no question. It's the proof's in the pudding. It is as it is. I am. There's you can't have a question about it. It's so to me, I just always bring back the original filter, and I try to put the nonsense through the filter. And when it's way too big to go through the filter, I have to sit there and look at it and accept for what it is. Sorry, but you're not true. And so whoever, wherever, and whenever we have the chosen few model being presented to us, we should really question that. Now, not to say that the word chosen and to be chosen is not real, because there is an organic standalone, there is an eternal path, there is a working available, but it's the fact that the individual consciousness, the fractal expression of source that we are, chooses. Power of choice. We are free will beings. This is what we've been gifted as our gift, is the power of choice. To choose. The fact that we choose truth and to guide you through the chaos, the confusion, the nonsense, the shadow world, that is the chosen ones, the whole thing, the big shiny gold star, or whatever they want to give everybody that they say is chosen, is this is it. You know, it is a real thing, but we choose, you choose, I choose truth. I choose highest good. I choose love unconditionally. I choose God, source, infinite creator. I choose the one way back to him, to home, to that great organic gnosis. And in choosing, you become chosen. But we all have the capacity to make the choice. We're all granted and gifted that point of making the choice or not. And that is what it means. It's no one externally gets to choose who is chosen. It's not an external parameter. It's an internal parameter. And you know, this is where the confusion lies, and of course how people get very caught up in manipulations and lost in the matrix, because we are in a formed manifestation, a solid world around us, and that leads us to believe in that this is what matters. The whole thing out here, the display, the symptomatic expressions are the end all be all, when in fact they're not. They are the end of the being of all. Right? It's the last part that comes out of the being within, of allness. The allness and being is in here always. The full organic end and beginning of you are here always. And it's like, if you know that and you honor that, you are chosen, because the infinite intelligence, God source, that has the whole, setup here, there's a notification, there's an acknowledgement, there's communion space that happens consciously, this recognition. When you choose to walk your path, when you choose to be awake and conscious, the notification gets told. And God says, oh, okay, he's taking the wheel, she's taking the wheel. Great, let's see what she does with it. And from there on out, you're under observation from Creator Source. And it's not an observation that's ever going to interfere. It's never going to say, don't turn this way, turn that way. It's never going to grab the wheel for you. It's observing what you choose to do now that you're activated. And having that, power behind us, empowering ourselves with this, to me, is, what I feel is the truth behind it, what I feel like I'd like to offer out to anyone who's sort of working between this or wondering, seeing all of these sort of external clubs out there with their Girl Scout badges handing, oh, you've been chosen, you get a car, you get a car. It's Hollywood nonsense. It doesn't work like that. And in fact, if you get that car from Oprah, you've got to pay the taxes. Do you have the money for that? Do you have the money to pay for the title? They want to gift you out all these gifts for free, but they're not actually free. They come with a bunch of strings attached for you in your real world to enslave you down into their corporate model, into their industrialized consumership. It's not It's not free. You know, you feel chosen when you get that, but you've been chosen to be enslaved, unfortunately, because it's an external model that's chosen you to be part of servitude for their negative aligned system. And now you're a cog in the wheel because you've taken the bait. When we know that we are chosen from within and that it has nothing to do with external circumstances, validation, prizes, gifts, nothing material has to do with that at all. You know, that's when we're really getting it. That's when we're truly understanding. And in fact, know when we're given or promoted or pushed gifts on us in that kind of way, once you realize what the true gift really is, it's like, no thank you. No thank you, I don't want that. Don't need that. And people will be very, you know, put off, not understand. Oh, but don't you need this? Don't you want that? You know, everybody else wants the newest iPhone. Everybody else wants a brand new car. Everybody else wants $1 million mansion. You know, it's almost like it doesn't compute to them as to why you would not want that thing. But when you know that you're already chosen and that everything that you're meant to have, you already have, you know, there isn't a need to go run on a wheel. There isn't a need to be part of the rat's maze. There isn't this dire need to have your face pressed up to the screen with what's next, you know, or, you know, with the Santa Claus list of all the things that you just wish if you were good you could get. You know, it's like all of those things become very obvious to the trick and trap that they are when you, in fact, take your choice into your own hands and realize that because I've chosen to be chosen, that means I already have everything. I couldn't actually wake up and see this truth behind it all. I would be blinded and just want and need and be, I wouldn't have the capacity to question. I wouldn't have the capacity to say, you know, well, that doesn't feel right. And because we do, because you do or I do, that's the key right there. That's that keystone that if you took it out, everything else is going to fall apart. You know, and when we have it, everything aligns nicely. So proof is in the pudding there with these kind of understandings. And if you haven't come down into your own sort of place of unconditional love, where you haven't gone into your own systems and seen where the incorrect alignments are, and to promote productivity and positivity within your own self, working through transparency and honesty with the aspects inside of yourself, you know, you don't have the strength to know that out there. You'd be very easily manipulated and confused by the presentation happening in the world. And like I said, we're sort of in unprecedented times. And so it's even more crucial and important for those of us who are awakened, who do question and do see, have a capacity to see the spectrum, that we really understand that that's the gift right there. That's your calling to be chosen. That means you are chosen. And that you've chosen to see things, that you want to see things differently. Because there always is the choice to close out. There always is the blind ignorance choice. There is always that blue pill back into the matrix. I want a yummy steak. I don't care anymore. Just make me a movie star. Make me happy in there and I'll just go back. I don't care. I'll do all the bidding for you. I'm tired. You know, there's always that choice to slink back down into the shadows, to listen to that anger or worry or fear, because we are co-creators with the rest of humanity here. They cannot impede in what you're choosing to cast out. They cannot change your light, but you can. And you can wilt. You can choose to strangle yourself. You can choose to depreciate your value, to break yourself into a million pieces because all around you is brokenness. And it's sad and emotional for me because I know that I was there. And I know how long I did that for. And it's, to me, I think, wow, why did I choose to do that? And I feel for others who are still doing that now. And it's like, don't do that. It feels so much better to accept where you're at and to build back better. use the demonic entities' mottos against them, right? Because they hold no power here. Sorry. We're operating through the light, and just by sharing out light, shadow cannot present itself in there, because it will be seen for what it is, and it doesn't want that. So again, this is why they hide in secrecy. This is why we have secret clubs. This is the initiation. This is all of the sort of rites and the inner doorways that people need to go through in order to get to, the secret behind it all. There's a huge difference between being chosen, as in seeing that you're a kindergarten student, knowing that there's all of grade school to go through, and that you want to learn how to do these big calculus expressions. You want to learn how to do chemistry or organic chemistry. You want to learn about balancing. You see all of these big happenings, and you know there's a truth to it. But you're a kindergartner, and you need to learn arithmetic first, of course. The choice to go through the schooling in order to build yourself up into a knowledge base to understand the complexity within the truth, that is this true organic idea of why we even have chosen, why there's a choice at all. Because there is an empowerment that we need to motivate ourselves through and work in our eternal energies to really understand how they work, and to get them to flow, fluidly, to feed each other and to balance ourselves. That happens organically through the ascension process, and that's like a kindergartner going through into high school level pre-cal. There is an organic reason why we have lower levels and higher levels, and I'm not trying to say that needs to be wiped clean, or that's in itself an evil process. It's not. In fact, that's the process is organic and original. There has to be an original to transform, flip, invert, and inorganically repeat over here, so that negative has something in the Shadowlands to accumulate its own flavor of energy down there within. And so there's the regular model, and it is true and aligned with truth. And it's, but what has happened is that they have created and used the model in an improper way that doesn't highlight the individual, it highlights the system. And the eternal energy and the body of eternity that will last forever is the system. It's not the cogs that come through the wheel, that those expire, those are replaceable. And unfortunately, here in this model, you're the cog, you're the energy input, you're, that in the system. And we see this in the industrial world, we see this in the modern world, that it's all of these monolithic systems that carry on, and maybe one or two highlighted folks who are very important to the system, they get, a nice portrait framed on the wall, and they have like a history in their history books, and everybody gets pointed to this one carrot on the stick just to know that you could possibly maybe get there. They have to have a face to trick you with, a carrot on the end of the stick. And again, it's an inverted falsity because no person is getting there, but then they choose a person to put up there as the fake way, as the fake A student, graduate, and they tell all the kindergarten students, oh yeah, you could be this, you're going to be that A-star student. However, it's never going to happen like that, because they have promoted from within their chosen A student. You know, and that one will never rock the boat. It would never disrupt the system. In fact, it engraves that system deeper and forces the cogs in the individuals coming into that system to want to cookie cutter themselves into that model even further, you know. So it sort of secures that innovation won't come in. It secures that people won't try to break molds or change anything because they just want to become the one who fit the mold the best so that they can reach that highlighted chosen position within the club. And it's, you know, to me it's very obvious, but of course others get very wrapped up in it and very fooled by it. So hence, you know, make this video and share it out, because that negative model doesn't work, you know. It's so silly to me, and we see it so much out there that, yeah, I thought I'd bring it up. So just to reiterate, and I'm going to wrap it up because this video is going longer than I'd like it to go. To me, to be chosen is never an external thing, and it can never come from a group or a club or a system. It's not a gold star, Girl Scout badge that somebody's given and anybody wears and everybody knows about. I find that to be the opposite of chosen. And when I see people out there, you know, with their shiny happy faces claiming the clubship, claiming that they're better than everyone else, that they're chosen, that they're favorited, they're more important or ahead of some others out here, to me, I immediately know that they're overcompensating for things that they don't have. And that whole presentation of being chosen is actually built off lies and fear. And that they're further away from being chosen than those who understand what it is to choose the best for yourself every day. And to see yourself as choosing life, choosing truth, choosing to put your best foot forward. Which is really what I believe is the true chosen. And those who you know, see things more clearly. I don't feel comfortable where most people put this sort of God knows at this, where like God knows that you're chosen. To me, I just, although I don't know, and I'm not going to say that I know anything for sure, but it's just like it doesn't feel right to me, because I think at the end of the day, all are chosen. Even those who choose to negate their power, choose to subvert and subjugate themselves into negative alignments, into negative systems, I think they're chosen for different jobs, chosen for different highlightings in the choice of great God creator, because this is, to me, an expression of infinity defining itself into all finite pieces. And if that is the case, then there is you know, infinite potentialities in the negative spectrum, and those deserve scatter plot points in this data graph just as much as all of the other light and love data points allow for and deserve. If that wasn't the case, if it wasn't supposed to be free for all exhibition here, we wouldn't have been granted that. You know, lots of people look at this and say there's a separation from God, and that perhaps like man chose against God, the Father, and it's sort of given us this negative connotation even of falling away. But I think that much like a parent, through tough love, unconditional love, allows their children to make mistakes, steps out of their children's lives and lets them live on their own, you know, to make their choices. It's the same capacity, I feel, with the Father, with great Creator Source. It's like we've asked the question, we've chosen to take it that far. What can we do but give the answer? What can we do but now allow the domino effect to go? You know, to me, an honest, good parent doesn't say to children, oh, here's the whole room and a million dominoes. Now go set it up as you would like it to be set up and for wherever you want it to run. And I won't touch it at all, I promise. You know, you're free to do it how you'd like to do it. I have put mine out. I have showed you sort of the version around the house that I like best, that touches all the corners and this and that works, that every domino actually is going to hit the next and it's going to come around to close out. You know, I've sort of given you that one. Here, you go make your own. And I'm not going to interfere. Would God really then, as a good parent, are you really then, when you see the kid like missing steps, missing a couple of the dominoes, know that that one's not going to hit over there, or those are going to fall off and hit these ones before they're meant to actually come down the line and hit them? Are you, like a helicopter parent, going to go behind them and fix it when you told them you weren't going to? No, you're not. You're going to let them set it up. You're going to let them push that first one and see it fall over there and mess up over here and do this. And you're going to laugh about it and just say, we didn't ruin the room. We still have the dominoes. It's just, it didn't go exactly as planned, did it? What did you learn from that? You know? And it's the quest of the child learning that God, source, creator, whatever we want to say, that's what the parable's about. That's what the production's all about. It's not even about how the dominoes ever fell. It's not even about the picture that they made at the end. You know, God already knows the best picture. We've already seen it. We know it. It's there. It's just that there's infinite space within the room that we could choose to do it other ways. And so if infinity really does want to describe itself in finite processes, it has to allow those to run course. Has to allow what happens to happen. So, yeah, as many, times as we want, we can see when the dominoes fall, the fruits of the labor, and I feel if we are in the moment, in the present, ever-present moment, actually listening in full awareness, we would hear that gentle, energetic expression from Great Father as we go to set the domino up, little to the left, little to the right, oh, push it back, oh yeah. We'd have that little inspiration of the vision of the other picture that says, oh yeah, it was this way, oh yeah, it was that, and go with it, instead of, oh no, it was that, but I said it was this way, oh, I thought it was over here was prettier, so I'm putting it over here this time. It's like, go for it. Do it. But might not be the best way. But again, this is where we understanding the structure of the pyramid, the label of the chosen comes from. When we've been cookie cuttered and pushed into a negative system and believing that it comes from this external source, we have to do this exact masterpiece version of it, and that we have been chosen already by this external thing, so we can't go wrong. So it just lends to the fertile ground of negativity to have this presumption of some are chosen and some are not. And the chosen ones, can't make mistakes, don't make mistake. It allows negative building. It allows that sort of, the dominoes to be able to be put in your own way. And for others to say, oh yeah, don't forget about that way. It wasn't that way at all. It's like, just doesn't mesh, doesn't feel organic to me. But anyways, like I said a few minutes ago, I've gone on for way too long in this episode. Thank you so much for giving me more than a half an hour of your time. I appreciate it so much, and thanks for witnessing my contribution to the collective and for offering out this sort of deconstruction of distortion, as I've mentioned. And I hope, if you haven't seen any of the other episodes, like I said, I got 9 other ones. You can check those out in your own time. If you're interested and you're new to subscribing to me or new to my content, I will have links in the description to my old channel, which have been locked out for almost a year now. But that channel's got like 300, 200 videos over there. Comprehension Consciousness and some other series that I did beforehand are over there. If you're interested in checking those out, you can find them over there. Yeah. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.